I just wanted to put a little twist. I want to touch on what I talked about with my buddy Robert Curatolo, who passed away at the NY on 9/11. Like I always say, like so many people, so many of my brothers saw the same thing I saw what I saw, and but with different sets of eyes, we came up with our own conclusion, and I don't know if that's what our brains wanted us to believe. But anyway, in regards, my story is really takes place more so. I was there on 9/11, but on 9/13/01 at about 4:30 in the morning, I actually thought, sadly, I thought I came out of this unscathed. I didn't think I lost a friend, a co-worker, or anything, and I was friends with the Curatolo family for my whole upbringing. And one of the brothers, Anthony, worked in the same command I did. At the time, we were doing either 1800 and 9 to 6:30 in the morning, or the opposite tour, 12-hour tours. It started right after 9/11, the first plane struck. So, I got into work. I was going downstairs to change and go back out on the street, and I saw Anthony, and he was a mess. So a lieutenant came up to me and said, Robert's missing. You have to stay with him today. And for lack of better terms, he said the boss that's going there with you guys is a coward. So you really have to watch Anthony. So about 6 o'clock, 0600, we ended up going to the FDR Drive. It's in Manhattan, and there was a path-marked parking lot. And what we do there is it's called mustering up. So they put you on a roster, and they send you out with a supervisor. And what you do is you go as a group, so you can watch each other. Well, the supervisor I was telling you about was hiding half the morning because he didn't want to be put on a roster because he thought we'd get further away from Ground Zero. 2 times during those first couple hours, I literally had to chase my friend Anthony down and tackle him because he was trying to get to Ground Zero by himself. So we brought him back, and finally my cousin was there. He was a Manhattan South lieutenant, and I told him what was going on, and he got us mustered up. And fortunately for us, and unfortunately for that sergeant, our post was the temporary morgue, which was right there at the site. So we got down there, and I was inseparable from Anthony. I met a couple of firefighter friends. They said, be careful, and I don't know if it was the Allstate or Prudential building. I'm having a loss with that. But I was told, be careful, this building's very unstable. So I followed Anthony as much as I could, but he was running around like a lab. You couldn't keep up with him. So at one point we sat down and had something to eat, and I just kept looking around. I kept looking at the heights of the buildings, how far I'd have to run, what direction I'd have to run in case one of them would come down, especially when you're talking about the stability problems. So there was a point at about, 11:30, 12 p.m., I sat down and said, let me get something to eat. So someone handed me a sandwich, and I was sitting there eating it, and I looked down and my shoe was untied. And I was talking to Anthony, and the next thing I know, I go to tie my shoe, and the shoelace breaks. And it sounds like nothing. Not 10 seconds later, 200 firemen run by and started screaming for me to get out of the building. It was coming down. So everybody ran pretty much to the revolving doors in front, and I saw that, so I took another exit. And I kind of jumped out this first floor window, and I landed on a pile of rock and shrapnel or whatever, the rebar that was there. And I ran down the block, and besides looking down at my shoe because the shoelace was broken, the chin strap on my riot helmet broke, and I actually ran headfirst into an ambulance, and I went down. And I heard the rumble behind me, and I honestly thought, oh, all right, this is it. And thank God it was the facade that fell off the building. But sadly, I got up and I had sprained my ankle pretty badly, and they taped me up. And when I went back, I saw the Curatolo brothers all huddled up, and they found Robert. And looking back now, it's a minor miracle because if you ask some boys that are with me, a lot of people weren't found, which is awful. So he was able to get a proper burial. So we huddled around, and a fire chief come over because I wanted to get the guys back to tell their parents. And my sergeant told me I couldn't go. If I left, I was suspended. He said, if I have to be here, you have to be here. So it was an actual fire chief that came over and said, for lack of better terms, he said, let this kid go. He's got to bring these guys home to their parents. And we drove back to Staten Island, and we got to the house, and Mr. and Mrs. Curatolo was standing there, and of course, the news was broken to them. She collapsed, of course, and I'll never forget the dad. He used to call me Little Man, and he goes, little man, I can't believe it. He goes, my son was deathly afraid of flying, and the plane still got him. And I went to turn around and walk away because I felt like it wasn't my moment to be there. And he looked at me and said, Fitz, I lost to somebody, gained one today. Thank you for being there for me. Like my brothers that are behind me, we could all go on forever, but some of the things we keep in here, and a lot of people keep in here. So that's my story. Thank you very much.